Look, this formula was not lost on the GOP and its high-dollar network. They immediately, instantly mobilized to counter the small-dollar donations, the labor union get-out-the-vote capacity, and also to deter voter turnout in future elections. Much more threatening to those powerful interests are the word of mouth and your door-to-door capacity and your phone calling and your talking to your neighbors and your family. That's what scares them. The right wing, the extreme right wing, and again, this is actually not illogical. I think corporate interests, better described as corporate interests, realize that if you change the laws at the state level, you can change the way our democracy runs.
Unions are the only competition Republicans have in electoral politics. Post Citizens United, conservatives look at this and they smell blood.
We also saw the Tea Party mobilize this virulent anti-Obama sentiment, and then what might have started out as a potentially grassroots uprising was really hijacked by billionaire donors like Charles and David Koch. The Kochs also heaped money on the Republican Governors Association, which then in turn helped to finance Scott Walker, Paul Kasich. And once in office, these politicians wasted no time in cracking down on public sector unions, rolling back environmental regulations, and issuing tax breaks.
Any chance we'll ever get to be a completely red state and work on these unions and become a right to work?
Well, in fact,
what can we do to help you?
Well, we're going to start in a couple of weeks with our budget adjustment bill. The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions, because you divide and conquer.
I did not vote, and this is a harsh word to use, I did not vote for a dictator who would strip me and my colleagues of all their rights.
So while Citizens United super enfranchised wealthy individuals and corporations in the electoral process, the decision also allowed unlimited spending by the unions. And a lot of the media has tried to equalize that. Okay, well there's corporate spending, but there's also union spending. And so one counteracts the other. Well, we all know that that's a false equivalent. In 2012, the Kochs raised and spent about over $400 million on the election. But we actually don't know how much more than that they spent because of the legal loopholes and also illegal loopholes that allow them to spend money without those donations being traced. Money is not only trying to elect candidates, it's trying to message, broadcast messages to the American public and persuade people that unions are bad, that government is bad, that privatization is good, that corporate interests are good.
But I was curious if you had any sense of whether or not the Occupy movement made the Koch brothers flinch at all.
Let's hope that the Occupy movement, gave them pause. But we saw how virulently they went, to suppress it. So I would imagine they wouldn't have tried so hard to suppress it if it weren't a threat.
I wanted to ask you, would you call this initiative a 1% agenda? That the goal and objective is a corporate state?
David Koch ran on the vice presidential ticket for the Libertarian Party. They wanted to eliminate the FDA, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the Department of Transportation, the EPA, certainly. They want to take out government in every way, shape, and form. They want to eliminate public institutions and public universities.
The end game is to undo all regulation, ultimately, because they want to be completely vertically integrated. They want monopoly. That's the capitalism that they want. And the way to get there is through the unions. But once they're there, then it's unbridled corporate interest, which is self-serving. It's millionaires and billionaires making millions and billions. That's what this is really about.
I think everything's in jeopardy, whether it's environmental or labor or human rights laws. Everything's in jeopardy when the politicians that are making these laws are corrupted by these corporate interests.